About why an American chose to live in Da Nang, Vietnam.
And honestly, my story started long before I ever got here. From America to Europe and 2 years in Albania, everything eventually brought me here.
What's up, guys? Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about why an American chose to live in Da Nang, Vietnam. We noticed we get a lot of questions from recently. A lot of Americans are interested in moving out here to Vietnam, and specifically Da Nang. And so I kind of wanted to emphasize some of the reasons why I chose to stay out here with my wife, Emma, and go through some questions that I lined out and hopefully give you guys some answers and some context and perspective as to why we chose Da Nang, Vietnam, and myself specifically. We're gonna have a sit down Q&A, and I'm gonna go through some questions, provide you guys with some answers, and hopefully I don't miss anything, but if I do, feel free to drop in the comments and ask me whatever you like, and I'll get you the answers. So let's sit down and go through some of these questions I wrote out and provide you with some context.
Okay, so why an American like myself chose to live in Da Nang, Vietnam? Well, let me start from the beginning here. I actually decided to rent my house out in 2022. My dog had passed away and I was really kind of lost. Coming from contracting and being in the military prior, I kind of lost my sense of purpose, my drive, and I felt alone after building this brand new house. I didn't want to be there anymore. So I thought by feeling a void, it would kind of help me, especially with the mental health situation. So I decided to rent my house out and travel all over Europe and Asia and just kind of see where I ended up. And upon traveling to Europe, I went to multiple countries, all the big main Western European countries. I had some friends in Greece where I was staying in Crete who happened to be Albanian, and they told me to go visit their home country. And I said, screw it, why not? I've never been to Albania. So I decided to go there, and I found out that Americans can actually stay there a year visa-free. And it was much cheaper. They're not in the EU. They have their own currency. They speak their own language. They love Americans and the Albanian people and the culture and tradition. They're extremely friendly. The cost of living was much cheaper than the rest of Western Europe. And so I decided, why not stay here for a year? So I got an apartment there, and I loved it. I made some really good friends, people I call family. They're like brothers to me. I met my wife Emma there after a little over a year, and I ended up living there for 2 years. After using Albania for a hub for all my travel, that was kind of my home base in Europe, Emma and I decided to travel. We wanted to check out Asia. So we left and we checked out Thailand. We went to Cambodia. We went to Singapore. We went to Malaysia. We came here to Vietnam. We saw everything. And we spent several months in each of those locations. And we kind of landed here in Da Nang, Vietnam after spending a month in Hanoi and also almost a month in Ho Chi Minh City. So after going to a couple other countries, we did think about living in Thailand. We had considered living in Phuket and Krabi, and we stayed a couple months in Thailand, and we also considered Cambodia. But why we chose Da Nang or Vietnam in general over Thailand, we figured Thailand is kind of played out with the expat and the tourisms, all that. The police seem to be very overzealous to mess with tourists, constantly kind of have this corruption where they're pulling you over. It just seems that the foreigners aren't as welcome as they once were. Maybe by the locals they are, but the government, the police, you're just seemingly constantly getting harassed, and the prices have gone up in Thailand. It's not as cheap as it once was, and sure, people are going to say, well, that's going to help be Vietnam is because you keep making these videos. Maybe that's the case, but relatively speaking, it's still much cheaper. And I would say Vietnam is probably 30% cheaper than Thailand. I mean, that could vary depending on what locations you go to, but 30%, maybe even more for some things. And then we looked at Cambodia, specifically Siem Reap. It was just a little bit more isolated. I feel like Da Nang has a lot more infrastructure. They're more capable of handling expats. The roads are very nice here. They have all the Western amenities when it comes to restaurants and grocery stores, so you don't feel like you're completely isolated from Western civilization. And there seems to be more of a friendly expat community. We fell in love with Da Nang. We love the beach vibe, the lifestyle here. It's not insanely crowded with tourists. It doesn't feel like a city. It feels definitely like a beach vibe, and a little slower pace was what we liked. And that's kind of why it was a good fit for us. And we decided, hey, let's kind of plant our feet here, take a break, and use this as a home base. While we travel the rest of Asia, we can call Da Nang, Vietnam home. The moment that Da Nang started to feel like home for us was when we realized we could have the beach life and the amenities that Western Europe and America provides, meaning it's very cheap to live. It's very cheap to go out in restaurants. It's very cheap for groceries, and yet we have beautiful beaches. We love that kind of lifestyle. It's much slower paced. And we realized that we could live very comfortably here in Da Nang, Vietnam, have a very high quality of life for a low cost. And that was something that sold us. And we just kind of love the energy that Da Nang puts out. Live a pretty basic lifestyle, and you're not drinking a lot or going out all the time. You could really enjoy it and have a very high quality life for a reasonable price. We go to the restaurants. The thing is we like to live away from all the craziness and tourism, but having accessibility to nice restaurants, to nice grocery stores, yet still feeling a part of the Vietnamese culture and still feeling away from the Western type civilization is something that you can have in Da Nang, Vietnam. And so that's what really sold us on this area. On the channel, you will see we talk about and give a tour of our apartment and what we pay, as well as what we pay monthly on average for groceries, motorbike, all that good stuff. So I won't elaborate too much on that other than to say that it is incredibly cheaper. The thing I did like about Albania when I was living there is it was about 30 to 40% cheaper than Western Europe or America. Now, the unfortunate problem is it's getting a lot more expensive in Albania, and that's kind of why we decided to travel and look elsewhere, and which brought us to Vietnam. Is you can get a lot of things cheaper here, whether it be going to the pharmacy. You can get a whole lot of pharmaceutical things that you might need, prescriptions, supplementations, just basic things that cost a lot in America are like a quarter of the price here. Even when it comes to healthcare, you can go to Vincom, which is the international hospital in Da Nang, and you can get things for a fraction of the cost of what it would cost in America, and with almost virtually no wait time. So that's another comfortable thing to have here is you have really good healthcare for a really reasonable price, if not extremely cheap. And so you don't have to worry about that too much here, especially if you have health insurance. But honestly, healthcare is so affordable here that you could just pay out of pocket, which is what we have done. So why is Da Nang a perfect location for an expat or a Westerner or a foreigner to live here? I would say it really kind of depends on your vibe. You know, some people like the busyness of Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. It kind of depends on where you're at in your life and kind of what you're searching for. What we loved about Da Nang is we love the peace. We do live about 12, 13 kilometers south of Da Nang, but we're a motorbike ride away. But Da Nang kind of gives you that beach chill vibe energy. You know, even when it's tourist season and it's busy, you can still drink coconut waters. You can get sun chairs and an umbrella and enjoy beautiful beaches and have all the amenities of somewhere really nice for a very affordable price. And the energy just feels more chill here. And that's kind of hard to find when you're in the big cities like Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. So that's what really kind of made us gravitate to this place is you find a lot more peace even as an expat or a foreigner. It's very easy to get used to Da Nang. It doesn't feel like an overwhelming city. It kind of has that Miami Beach vibe, but without all the kind of nonsense of the showing off or anything like that. So you get that cool beach vibe energy, and that's what kind of makes it really bearable and something you can enjoy for the long term if that's your thing. So another big thing people are wondering, is Vietnam safe? Vietnam is 100% safe. I mean, we have had zero safety concerns, and honestly, you don't even see that many police around. It's just like people understand that you need to behave. There's a certain decorum here that Vietnamese people have. They're extremely friendly, always willing to help out. We have not come across anything where we were ever concerned with our safety. The only thing you have to be careful of is just driving on the roads because there are no rules on the roads. But once you get used to that, we feel extremely safe here. Emma and I take routine walks in the middle of the night where we live. We've done it in Da Nang when we stayed in the town by Mai Kai Beach. Safety should not be a concern here. You should feel very safe. We've never had any issues. Haven't heard of anything crazy happening here. So if there's any Westerners concerned about safety, safety is fine here. There's no issue. You hardly ever see anything going on. The police seem to do their job because people just behave. So we've never had to worry about that. Safety is definitely nothing you should be concerned about. 100% safe, no issues. Okay, next thing, scams. Are they common? I would say if you go to the big tourist spots, probably more so in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. Da Nang, not really. I mean, as a foreigner, are you going to get the occasional higher price on some things? Yeah, but the higher price, sometimes you're talking about 30 to 50 cents, maybe $1 more. The restaurants, they have a fair price. I mean, there's like a foreigner tax they add to it. but it's nothing that's going to break the bank. Just like anywhere, there's going to be people are going to try to take advantage of foreigners. I mean, you just have to be mindful, whether they try to sell you sunglasses or want to upgrade your phone screen, things like that. They'll try to increase the price on you. You always want to make sure you negotiate a price firsthand, actually visually show them the money or have them show you the amount that you're going to pay and come to an agreed upon amount. And you shouldn't have any issues with getting scammed. Just always come to an agreed amount and visually have them show you the cost of whatever service they're going to provide. And then you shouldn't have any issues like that. Scammers are going to be around every city you go to. People are going to try to take advantage of you as a foreigner. You just got to be mindful and always negotiate the price, visually see the currency they're talking about, the amount, so there's no confusion, and you should be safe with that. So, okay, so another thing people are probably curious about is rainy season, or otherwise known as typhoon season. We have been here since the beginning of that. We actually started living here in the beginning of September, maybe end of August. But the rain season starts, or typhoon season starts, from October to about mid-December. And here it is December 1st, so it's kind of wrapping up. We've been fortunate. We are in central Da Nang, kind of a little about 15 kilometers south of Mai Kai Beach itself. And we have not really been in the flood zone. Where we live, we have had no issues. It has rained a whole lot. There's been a lot of typhoons. Way City got historical flooding. Hoi An got historical flooding. So, but Vietnam's kind of built for that. They're used to it. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but they're very resilient people. And as soon as the flooding is over, it's almost business as usual. They're right back at it. I mean, Hoi An, a week after the most historical flooding, was already reopening. They were replacing a lot of things in some of the restaurants off the river. So the resiliency of the Vietnamese people and flood season and typhoon season is nothing that's new to them. So we were highly impressed with that. But you have to be prepared. If you come between October and December, there are going to be some days, if not weeks, where it rains and it rains and it rains and it rains. And you just have to be able to prepare for that and plan for that and do a lot of inside activities. And getting on a motorbike is something we don't do when it rains really bad. You just don't want to take the risk. Although the Vietnamese will put on a raincoat and they will cruise through rain you can barely see through. So it is kind of impressive. But I would suggest staying off the motorbikes during rain season. Try to stay inside. But if you do, you could take a Grab. Grabs are extremely cheap. I mean, you can go 15 kilometers with a Grab car and spend, I think, maybe about $10. So, and that's what we've done from where we live to get to Mai Kai Beach. If we want to indulge in a restaurant, we'll just take a car and not have to deal with the motorbike and spend $10 to go there, $10 to come back, $20 if the weather's terrible. So that's an easy fix. But October to December is the rain season, and this has been a rain season like no other. So be prepared for that. But it's temporary, and then after that, right now the weather seems to be trying to get better. So that's the rain season for you. Okay, so the language barrier, like any other foreign country you're in, yeah, the majority of Vietnamese don't speak English. But, you have Google Translator now and all these translator apps. And in the busy tourist areas, of course, there's always going to be somebody that speaks English. They're so used to seeing tourists, and English is kind of a worldwide language. The barrier is not too much of an issue. I mean, anything that you can't figure out, you use translator for. So I wouldn't be too concerned with that. If you're going to the really foreign areas, you just rely on translator apps. So that's not an issue. And the bigger, busier areas, especially in Da Nang, a lot of people speak English. You're not going to have any issues getting your point across or asking for something. So I wouldn't be concerned about the language barrier. It kind of makes the process fun to try to have a dialogue with people anyway. So don't be concerned with the language barrier. Okay, another thing is meeting other foreigners here. There is a lot of expats. It's actually becoming pretty popular, and that's why I'm making this video. There's a lot of foreigners, Westerners, and that are enticed to the idea of coming to Vietnam and moving to Da Nang. And you can see why. I mean, it's a great quality of life. The Vietnamese people are extremely friendly and welcoming. You're providing and contributing to the economy. And there is a network of other expats and foreigners from America, from Canada, from the UK, and from all over where you can have a community. We've made friends with all kinds of people, from Americans to Russians to British folks to Aussies, you name it. There's going to be plenty of people here where you can have a network of friends and meet other expats and digital nomads. So you kind of have that sense of community. And then also you're in Vietnam, so you're going to make Vietnamese friends. I got some tattoo work done here. I keep in touch with Jack. Shout out to Jack Ink's Tattoo. He does awesome work in Da Nang. So it's very easy to make friends here and not feel isolated unless that's going to be your choice. There's plenty of ways to make friends, plenty of places to go that are really fun to hang out at, watch some sports, play some pool. Vietnamese love billiards, so it's a fun way to hang out and make friends, so that's not going to be an issue. It's very easy, big community out here. And then speaking of friendly, the reception of the Vietnamese people, man, they are so friendly, especially the kids. The kids, they are always saying hello, they're always smiling, they're always laughing. They're super intrigued by foreigners, and they are awesome. The little local town / village in Dien Ban where we live, they're always waving to us. People have gotten to know us here, even the elders. So the reception you get from Vietnamese people, they have no issues with foreigners living here. At least I haven't heard that, and I haven't felt that. They're always welcoming. They're very gracious. They always want you to come over. The guys shooting billiards, playing pool, want to have tiger beers and say hi bye yo and drink and have fun. The ladies are super friendly, and so the reception you're going to get as a foreigner, as long as you respect the Vietnamese people and you're a good person, you're going to get the same thing back. And so it's awesome living here. The Vietnamese people are awesome, and we've really enjoyed it. So no concern there. Okay, let's talk about food. One of the other things I love about Da Nang, Vietnam is, although I do love a lot of Vietnamese food, I am an American and I do love my steak. I love my diversity. I love Mexican food. I'm from Texas. And that's what another big seller for me is you're away from home, but it's kind of nice. Food is kind of like that comfort food when you could find something that's familiar to you. And that's what Da Nang has. I mean, there's this amazing Mexican restaurant we go to that has delicious food. There's a place called, I think, Dirty Fingers, which is like a Texas barbecue. They do brisket. They do all kinds of amazing barbecue that reminds you of Texas. And Korean barbecue place where they cook all your meats in front of you. They have sushi. So there's an array of all kinds of Italian restaurants, all this stuff. So you can get some really high quality food that's not just Vietnamese. You're in Vietnam. Of course, getting Vietnamese food is going to be easy. It's amazing. There's many places and many restaurants and local places you can go to. That's never a problem. But if you're kind of wanting that taste of home, whether it be Mexican food, sushi, Korean, barbecue, all that stuff, Italian, you're going to have access to all of that stuff. So it's very nice to have accessibility to really good food that you're used to having back at home, but also having the Vietnamese food whenever you like to have. Okay, guys, so that's going to wrap up some of the things about why I chose to live in Da Nang, a little bit about my story, and hopefully I answered enough questions that you guys may have. If I missed anything, make sure you drop a comment, let me know. I will do my best to respond and give you the best answer possible. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.